Hello everyone, it's Livy here, aka Story Minded, and I just want to continue sort of documenting my second year at university and just sharing my assignments for second year. So this one is for literary prizes and public acclaim, which was one of the core modules we had to do. So we didn't get a choice; we had to do that module because it's a core module. Let's just say it was quite stressful. The actual content of the core module was brilliant. Like the books, I can't fault. There were like two parts to this module. The first part was the really stressful group project that we have to do, but I'm not talking about that in this video because that's for another video. But that we had to basically put on like a writing competition for our entire university, and it was hell. Let's just refer to it like that because it's not a way of referring to that. It was hell. It was horrible. But I'll explain more about that in my other video. And the other side of that, we had 4 books on our reading list, like our primary reading list that we had to read, and then we ended up doing a comparative essay between 2 books of our choice. And interestingly enough, usually like with literature questions, depending on what it is, you get a choice of different questions you can pick from, but our lecturer actually offered the chance to negotiate a question, and I went along for my tutorial like I usually do for literature assignments, and I sort of sat down and talked through what I was really interested in. I'd picked my 2 books. The books we had the choice out of were The Remains of the Day, The Long Song, and those are the 2 books I compared because they were my favourite. When I Lived in Modern Times and The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, and all the books were amazing. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed all of the books. But the thing that I was really interested in was kind of like the idea of postmodern narrative strategies, because all these books are like classed as postmodern text. And I ended up negotiating a question with my lecturer. It became quite a wordy question, but it went really well. So the question I ended up doing was negotiating was how do 2 texts on the module employ postmodern narrative strategies to explore the relationship between articulation and censorship in the expression of their protagonists' identities. Please support your response with detailed evidence from the text. So I ended up looking at The Remains of the Day and The Long Song, because The Remains of the Day has Stevens, who is a butler, and he has this sort of very rigid code of conduct, and he ends up doing a lot of sort of self-censoring within the text. And I also looked at the idea of almost like, I think I looked at metafiction. Yes, metafiction, that's it. I looked at the postmodern narrative strategy of metafiction to interact directly with the reader. And then I also looked at July from The Long Song, because the way she narrates The Long Song is she's born a slave, but she reinvents herself as a character to kind of overcome her censorship. And there are instances in the text where the kind of orality of slave narratives and their kind of strong cultural connection to being oral kind of allowed her to ascend and like overcome her censorship. So I was really interested in like the kind of idea of censorship in both of the texts, and I actually really enjoyed writing that essay. So that was quite a fun one. So if any of you have different questions, or you're not sure that any of the questions that are being offered to you, maybe talk to your lecturer and see if they would be willing to negotiate a question with you, because it's really rewarding if you actually go down that route, and then you actually get to explore what you want to explore within the text. So if you feel like the varied selection of questions don't actually fit what you're interested in within the book, maybe have a discussion with them, because it's much better to sort of have kind of passion or investment in your coursework assignments rather than feeling like you're forced to pick a question that you don't enjoy, because obviously when you do all your research you want to be interested in what you're looking into. So anyway, that was for the first, I think actually, was it the second or was it the first? I think it was technically the first assignment, but we did our second assignment first because it was a group project and it wasn't good. It really wasn't good. But anyway, if anyone's watched this, thank you, and I'm going to make the next video. Bye.